All right, cool. I'm live. All right, this is episode 10 of the Hybrid Athlete Podcast. I'd like to welcome everyone. And I would like to start out by saying that for me, this is kind of like a very interesting, fun part of the year because I've officially finished race season. Over the last 6 months, I've done 6 endurance races, actually five. So I've done the 70.3 Ironman. I've done um, one marathon. I've done a short course triathlon, and then I've done 3 half marathons. So I'm calling it a year in terms of endurance racing, and I'm going right into some more some weightlifting and some heavy weightlifting, and trying to get as strong as I can. I feel a little bit not weak, but I just feel like lighter, and I feel like I haven't really, it's a natural consequence of the running that I've been doing and the training that I've been doing. I just haven't really, tried to get bigger. And I just wrapped up the keto diet, so I posted some of my progress pics before and after on there. They're on my Instagram too, nate.rv91. If you want to check those out. But yeah, I think it was a good result. I think I accomplished what I wanted to. But at this point, like, I'm trying to get just stronger and get bigger. And so today, the purpose of today's podcast and today's video is to introduce you all to kind of one of the programs that I'm trying to that I'm implementing and running on my website. So first things first. Hopefully you can see this. This is hybridlivingathletics.com. That is my official URL, my domain name. So that website, it's up and running. It's on Google search. You can access the website, but there's a lot of maintenance that needs to be done. So I will not say that it's going to be basically ready and fully functioning for about another month. But the backend development was done. I had somebody do it for me, so they did a great job, and I'm excited to get started on the editing and all of the kind of the work that I need to put into to format it and get it to basically have all the features that I want. But most of my exercise templates will be on there, meaning the programming and stuff, and all of the diets. Basically, there's a menu of things. They're all based around a 3-phase program, so a series of 3-phase sections, typically 4 to 6 weeks long. So that's what this whiteboard is for. I'm going to go over some of the programming that I have that I'm going to be involved in, the general outline, the template for everyone who decides to get on a program. I've been answering a few emails and stuff in terms of people who have kind of partaken in my questionnaire. So all of those forms, kind of about me, who I am, my background, the questionnaire, the health history questionnaire, and some of the other important forms are going to be posted on my website too. Once I get it fully running, so you can expect all of that to be on there and everything to be fully available by September 1st. So that's the rollout date for me. If there's one thing I know, it's that I never miss deadlines. So you can count on that site being fully up and running and good to go by then. So that's good news. That's exciting for me. I just want to help as many people as I can, and hopefully this channel get some more traction. And I see a few views. My shorts get a lot of good views, so that's awesome. But I think these are going to start bringing some good value as I really dig into kind of my vlog, my stories. Maybe I can share some, just some training videos, like some shorts. I might record one of me boxing this next week in one of my hit cardio, high intensity cardio sessions, and grab some footage of that just to give people an idea of what I like to do and how I do my program and stuff, and how I change from some guy that runs 3 hours straight to somebody who's trying to deadlift 400 pounds this fall. So it's a great type of exercise to do. It's a great type of training to do. But again, I don't discriminate. I have programs for everyone. So obviously it's 2023, right? Let's not discriminate. Just kidding. But yeah, there's a lot of good programs that I have that are basically, geared towards someone who's older, who's just trying to basically stay healthy, stay agile, mobile, hostile. Just kidding again. But someone who's just trying to basically maintain strength, or even build their metabolism. There's ways you can build your metabolism through a diet. I became fat adapted this last month, so that's a great example of going keto and then basically just transforming kind of how your body reacts to energy sources. In my opinion, keto is something that I do want to do for the long term as I go into endurance. For example, if I want to do the Leadville 100 in a couple of years, that's kind of on my to-do list. I'm definitely going to want to be fat adapted for that. I noticed a difference in inflammation. I noticed a difference in overall energy levels in terms of running, but I would say in terms of weightlifting, it's a different type of. The pump is not as good. Basically, there's not when you're insulin sensitive, it's nice to be able to just get a nice spike in glucose and basically just kind of get the energy spike and get a better pump in the gym when you're lifting weights. Running's a whole different ballgame. It's aerobic exercise, and as we all know, aerobic exercise is a 180 difference and compared to anaerobic exercise. So now that I'm going, full throttle into just heavy weightlifting, heavy leg days with 28 sets, trying to bench press more, trying to do all the compound lifts, barbell movements as heavy as I can without getting hurt, of course. But that's basically just going to call upon the paleo diet. So again, in a few minutes, I'll refer to this and I'll explain this a little bit better. But that's kind of where I'm at with things. August into January. So 6 straight months of just hammer the weights, do cardio 3-4 days a week to maintain. I'm going to start out by throwing a stat out there. Experts who have studied basically physical performance and high-level exercise, they report that 3 sessions, up to 30 minutes of low-intensity cardio will not inhibit your progress with weights. Meaning, if you work out 90 minutes total of low-intensity cardio every week, that can be 5 or 6 15-minute sessions or a couple 2 or 3 days of 30 minutes. Whatever you do, don't make it too intense. But you can basically just maintain, kind of supplement your exercise that way, and basically keep your heart fit, keep blood flow high, keep everything healthy, and kind of use it as kind of a detox too. You can go sauna, but when you sweat it out, when you're sweating on a bike or sweating on a run, I mean, it's just good for your body just to detox and kind of take care of all the all the nitric oxide that you have built up. The more supplements you take and the more food you eat, the more you just kind of have nitric oxide build up. So that's kind of just a good practice to have in terms of keeping your body clean and filtered and all that. So I would recommend running to start out too for the program that I'm on. I'm going to be running about 4 days a week. So I'll do probably 4 20-minute runs, sometimes just a 10 or 15-minute run. But there's 2-3 days the week where I don't even run at all. But I'm doing plenty of HIIT cardio and I'm doing plenty of heavy weightlifting that, I'm going to burn just as many calories as I was pretty much doing the endurance, but it's just a different type of exercise, different type of program, and a different type of approach. So different methods call for different variables and different inputs. So food is a perfect example. One of the first things I wrote on this is a 3-phase variation in intensity. Meaning that each phase of this program has a change in variation and change in intensity. That basically applies to the weights, and then the diet is the same way. But the diet also includes basically just kind of a 10% jump in calories the more intense my workouts get. The harder I work out, basically, as soon as a perfect example is a larger muscle group like legs. So I'm going to start out basically by lifting 20, a lot of sets, but not as much weight. And the more output that I have from lifting, especially legs, the higher calorie requirement I'm going to have, or I'm just going to start losing weight or not maximizing muscle growth. So this program is basically after 4 to 6 weeks, I increase calories by 10%. By the end of the program, I'm going to be consuming 5,500 calories a day. I'm going to start out by consuming only 4,500 calories a day and see how it goes. And I'm going to be tracking it. So basically phase 1, this is called a mesocycle. So it's 3 microcycles, which I call phases. 3 microcycles equals 1 mesocycle. And then a macrocycle is like a year-long, how you exercise or what you're doing for your programs. But this program, every program that I design that has a template on my website and that I've created is a 3-phase mesocycle program. So this mesocycle is going to be a bodybuilding mesocycle for me, a bodybuilding mesocycle where I'm on a paleo diet. And I have, looks like 10 supplements that I'm taking. I won't list them now off the top of my head, but I know I'm taking 10 supplements, specific supplements. And then my cardio, like I said, is just kind of a maintenance cardio program where I just want to maintain basically healthy cardio. It helps me maintain energy between sets, during sets, especially when I'm just pushing intensity. So that's it's a supplement to that. And a direct quote from Jay Cutler, one of the best bodybuilders of all time, is he would get on a bike for 10 minutes. There's videos on YouTube of him and videos published of him just basically talking about it too. This training where basically he would keep cardio in his routine, but he would increase food to kind of cover the calorie burn, but it wouldn't really inhibit his muscle growth because cardio was simply just a supplementation, almost like a micronutrient supplement that you take in pill form. It was a supplementation of his exercise to basically keep his heart healthy and fit when he weighs 280 pounds and he's trying to lift a bunch of weight. So it might be genetic related, but in my opinion, there's a lot of benefits that come from, even if your sole goal is just to get big and put on muscle, there's a lot of benefits that come to basically just keeping cardio in your routine, as long as it doesn't break that 90-minute threshold, like I said, and becomes damaging or kind of burns through too much glycogen and muscle tissue at some point. But again, being well nourished and kind of planning out your day and your workout routines, there's ways to get around that. And I encourage people to take a look at the templates that I will be publishing on my website, which will go over those in a lot more detail. So back to kind of the 3-phase program. For this bodybuilding program that I'm doing, there's a 4 to 6 week phase of each one, and back to variation and intensity. Variation basically means like muscle confusion. So say, for example, I have a back, the first phase is going to be back work, where basically I use a lat bar pull down. And after that first phase, that first micro cycle, I'm going to go into phase 2, and then I'm going to include a heavy barbell row, where basically I do 205, maybe 225 pounds if I can, and basically just row as heavy as I can. So that's going to be like a variation to the same program. It's going to be the same rep, set, range structure, but the tempo might change. Intensity is how you vary. Varying tempo is how you vary intensity. So say, for example, in phase 1, I take a 90-second break in between heavy sets. Phase 2, I'm going to do the same weight maybe, but I'm going to take a shorter break. If I increase weight, which is variation, I might not increase intensity, meaning I might keep the same break. So for example, if you go bench press 185 to bench press 225, and then you go bench press 185 10 times and then rest 30 seconds, bench press 185 10 times, and then quick drop set bench press 135 as much as you can with no rest. That's an example of intensity change in intensity as opposed to change in variation. So I use these two kind of variables, if you will, to basically adjust the stimulus and adjust what's being caused, the damage that's being caused to the body in the exercises to yield results. So there's multiple ways to do this, but my program is basically focused around these two methods of changing the program. So I think I covered most everything on this whiteboard. I'll put this thing down in a minute. The macro ratios. So in every diet that I make and the diet that I'm doing now, my keto diet was primarily like 10 to 12% carbs, and that was it. And it was like 50% fat and about 40% protein. So I was consuming about 320 to 330 grams of protein a day, at least 230, 240 grams of fat, and only about 85 to 90 carbs at the most. So you do the math on that. That's only about 360 calories of carbohydrates every day. So now I'm going to kind of basically put that into a paleo model, where now my paleo carb intake is going to be around probably 150 to 200 grams, but I'm still going to keep fats relatively high. So I'm going to keep it like a ratio of like 30, 30, 40, where protein stays high all the way through. Protein's still like at least 320, 330 grams. I know I think diagnosis, the typical recommendation is like 1 gram per pound of body weight, I've heard, and then like 2 grams per kilogram, something like that. It's pretty much the same. There's 2.2 pounds in every kilogram. So you're pretty much looking at the same diagnosis. But my opinion is you can't really get enough protein. So basically just err in the side of over-consuming. Protein really doesn't make you fat, but eating extra carbs will make you fat. So obviously focusing on managing carbs and fats all the way through the program is going to be essential, which is why I kind of include all of these percent ratios, and I kind of break them down in every diet program that I make. So micronutrient wise, I haven't never really dealt with a nutritionist, but now that I'm certified as a nutritionist, I would like to add the micronutrient recommendations to my programs. So being involved in micronutrient being aware of your micronutrient intake, I think, is very important because that affects blood work. That affects like, top end energy levels, meaning if you're running at a deficiency, even if you're eating all the healthy food, you're getting enough protein, you might be low on iron. And there's people that become anemic. You might be missing vitamin D is a very common deficiency among males. So I supplement myself with 20,000 IUs of vitamin D. The Google search recommendation is like 5,000 to 10,000 a week. So I'm double what the recommendation is, but I feel better. My blood work comes up fine. That's the last thing I put on here is I encourage blood work. So blood work is key to basically tracking your health long term and making sure that nothing that damaging is going to come up. I think that one thing that you want to pay attention to as well is kind of your if you're taking a lot of supplements, or if you're taking in a lot of caffeine, blood pressure, cholesterol, high LDL, low LDL, all that stuff's important. So the good cholesterol is what you want to believe. The good cholesterol is LDL. I always get them mixed up, and then HDL is bad cholesterol. So keeping those basically maintained and above in a reasonable range is important. And I think cooking with the same ingredients is important too. A lot of people that have a higher fat diet cook with a lot of olive oil. So I basically just point out how much olive oil you should use in each meal and each day for my program. And I discourage seed oils, vegetable oils, like canola oil. They have a lot of anti-enzymes which basically act against your stomach in the chemical process. Basically, they literally avoid the breakdown of food in the small intestine and in the stomach lining, which is no bueno. So it's important just to kind of like keep track of how much butter you're using, how much oil you're using. If you air fry, that's fantastic. Things along those lines. In my program, I do olive oil all the time. That's part of the reason why I don't really eat that many egg yolks is because I cook egg whites in like a tablespoon of olive oil, 2 tablespoons sometimes. So, I mean, that's getting me 20 to 25 grams of fat. So why would I eat 2 more egg yolks and get like 50 grams of fat, 40 or 50 grams of fat if I don't need it? Because I already have enough other fat sources in my diet. So another comment I'll make is on these diets that I make, like they're selectable. So you as the consumer, as the client, as the person who's getting the information, you can select a lot of the sources of like fats, carbs. I mean, I make a pretty big requirement on protein, just meaning like volume. Like you can have, for example, you can have 8 ounces of chicken breast, but chicken breast doesn't have really many other micronutrients. So if you're going to choose chicken breast as a protein source, might have you supplement with vitamin B, with some zinc, magnesium, whatever. Red meats is typically more nutrient rich. So kind of finding that balance and basically just following kind of protocol on micronutrient needs is going to correlate with kind of your protein sources specifically, and obviously your vegetable sources to your vegetable selection. So leafy greens are great just for digestion, just for kind of micronutrient benefits, K2, iron, plenty of things, especially spinach, broccoli. Broccoli is a complete food, for example, so it contains all 9 of the essential amino acids. So there's a lot of things that you can accomplish with these diets. So that's kind of the big point I wanted to make today was now that I'm changing my diet, I'm going to focus on making a kind of a smooth transition from, okay, I was keto, like I was used to eating, half a cup of peanut butter every day pretty much. And my body weight actually went down a couple pounds. And I was eating, like some sirloin steak, ribeye steak every now and then, a lot of ground beef. Basically just vegetables was limited to like peppers, onions, avocado, tomato, Roma tomato. So now that I'm able to get more carbs, I'm going to go back to like peas, carrots, maybe even some corn every now and then. Keep those ratios in line, but just adjust them. So like I said, I'm going a 30, 30, 40 pretty much. So you're looking at 40 protein, 30 fat, 30 carbs. So we'll see how that goes. And I will be reporting on that in the next episode. But let's finish this conversation with some more on exercise and some more on the weights and weightlifting. I really want to speak about the variation of exercise and speak how you can work the same muscle group in different ways. So I use the example of the back exercise with the lat pull down to a barbell row. There's specific things that will make you grow more and that will get a better response. So it's your job too as an individual to find what basically gives you the best response in the same muscle group. Some people do squats and they don't really feel it in their quads. people go to that hip sled, that seated hip sled, they put on more weight. Maybe they don't think it's working as hard as the squat, the barbell squat, but in reality, their legs are on fire. Like they get growth and they get a lot more of basically just blood flow activity, and they get a lot more of hypertrophy from that exercise. So pay attention to that and use that. Just because there's an exercise that's kind of diagnosed or that's claimed to be the best doesn't mean you have to do it. It's a must. So that's why I encourage variation in these programs, because over the course of like the first three phase program that you do, you're going to find what works best for you. And I've discovered that on my own and my own exercise, what works best for me to get a better back. Because for me, my back has always been the worst part of my physique and of my body, because when I was younger, I never really paid attention to doing pull-ups or anything. And now that I've been working out for like the last 3 or 4 years seriously, I've kind of paid attention to when I do a pull-up, how do I do it? Do I feel anything? When I do a seated cable row, how do I do it? Do I feel anything? Dumbbell row, etc. So I've learned that a seated cable row helps me grow my back the best, because I feel a stretch on the eccentric movement, and on the concentric movement, I feel kind of like a nice pull, and I try to hold that position at the end where I have the hex bar basically close to me. So changing grips, changing exercise methods, changing rep ranges. I think within a reasonable rep range, like you don't want to do 30 sets of a heavy lift. You don't want to do 2 reps of, 30 reps of a heavy lift, 2 reps of a light lift, but that, within reason, but there's still ways to basically get the most. And I will say a lot of like high level bodybuilders, they don't even count reps at the end of their top sets. They just go until it's pretty much form failure. And I define form failure as how many reps can you do before you stop and the weight falls on you, but before you do a rep and you have to wiggle around and you have to just use extra muscles just to move the weight to the end of the rep. So I think paying attention to that is important. That's going to keep you healthy. It's going to avoid injury, and also you're going to get the most out of basically a single muscle group when you're working out and when you're trying to get the best out of the workout. So that kind of concludes everything that I had to say. Look for some shorts, some new shorts coming on my channel. I might do some in-gym shorts. I just don't like being that guy though that basically posts or creates content inside the gym. There's enough idiots that do that already. So I'm not a fan of it unless I have something to share or something to teach. I make it quick and to the point, but I'm not trying to do it for attention. I'm trying to do it to help anyone who's watching this. So I'll try to do my best to produce a couple of those. The next episode is going to be next week, and I'll go a little bit, basically just dive a little bit deeper into my actual bodybuilding program with kind of a reflection on this first week, because I'm definitely going to be, I actually do have a triathlon with just a mini competition with Sarah's Fitness. So that's going to be just like a row bike run, but I don't really need to do too much training for that. Actually, weightlifting will help me because it's just a rowing machine and then a short 15-minute bike and just a run. So I've been running all spring, so that shouldn't be an issue for me. So I got that coming up, so I can maybe recap that quickly and then go into some of the bodybuilding work that I'm going to try to do. And then I will say my goal, just to get it on camera and just to kind of hold myself accountable too. My goal is to get to, right now I weigh exactly 180. And when I go to bed, I weigh 180. When I wake up, I'm like 178. So my goal is to basically put on 15 to 18 pounds. It's going to be half fat, half muscle, best case, but still basically get up to 195, 196, and then just pull it back down for race season by March, late March, early April, and then just kind of do the same thing I did last year, the same thing I did this year, but improve the process next year. But that's quite a ways down. I got a lot of other things on my plate to worry about until then. So that concludes this video. I hope everyone enjoyed it. Hope the whiteboard was helpful. I hope the commentary on my program has sparked some interest and people get interested in maybe working with me at some point. I will say I got business cards coming in, so I can hand those out if I see people in person. Word of mouth. I think here locally, I mean, I'm not sure how many good trainers there are, but I'll charge like $100 a month and I'll tell you everything I know. I don't think there's that many deals that are that good out there. So until next time, everyone go out there, do a good job, kill it at what you want to